WROCAM, WBEE, HD2 Rochester, and everywhere you go at WGR Rochester. The sports leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester. An Odyssey sports station. Welcome into the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia, where the voice of the Rochester fan is heard. Pull up a stool and join us at 866-4326. This is WGR Rochester, and the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia is on now.
2 hours of sports talk excellence here in the Flower City from the High Falls Studios, where the sun is now out. Thanks for joining us here today. 585-866-4326. That is the number if you'd like to join us. If you'd like to write in on the show, WGR Rochester is our handle. We're on all social media platforms. We're on YouTube and Twitch streaming, of course, 95.7 FM, AM 950, and always streaming for free inside the Odyssey app. We're on the air 1 to 3 Eastern Time weekdays here, this being the Thursday edition here of the show. And if you miss it, well, think of us as your 2-hour daily Rochester sports update, sports podcast. Yeah, where was the sun this morning here? It would have been nice here. Joining us, Terrible Take Timmy, who was representing WGR Rochester. Have you dried out yet?
I am actually, no, I am still damp.
You're still damp.
I'm working at it. We'll get there by the end of the show, but I'll be uncomfortable the whole show.
I think the uncomfortable thing is the socks. Having dry socks is always kind of the key there. So, although if you're thinking, I'm going to go barefoot in the studio here,
absolutely not.
I'm not going to allow it. I don't want to set the precedent.
No,
I don't. I don't want to trust that, because once you go that direction, it'd be hard to come back.
I would never do that anyway. But yeah, it was another wet one. Not nearly as bad as yesterday, but the weather conditions have stunk for 2 days in a row now, and
now the sun comes out. Now it's out. Hey, you know what? It's fine. They've got to practice in bad weather. It's not great for fans. Funny how people take a little snapshot, and the snapshot at the beginning was just, news coverage of here are the players coming out on the field. And you see part of the stands there, they're empty. Well, this is it. No, it was actually quite full yesterday. I'm assuming quite full again today.
It was about 85% full.
Yeah.
There was one section of the bleachers that were pretty much untouched, but other than that, it was pretty full. And this is, again, 2 days of not great weather, so people are still coming out in droves.
Yeah, as they should. This is a Super Bowl contender. We can say that out loud. It's a new beginning here. I do like how Josh Allen came out and said, hey, enough already with the uniforms. Let's stop.
I will say, I did not see a single – they had them on sale. I did not see a single one worn out of the entire crowd. I did not see one single brand new jersey. And people usually, I thought, would – buy them just because they're new.
Yeah, but if it's raining, I could see why. So where that's, I guess, noteworthy. I'm not gonna judge on that. I always find it curious. Like, okay, what's the weirdest jersey you could see? Somebody showed up in an OJ jersey one time. Like, okay, you're just trolling for attention. There was somebody else that was dressed fully on and with pads and a helmet. I'm like, okay, you're just here to draw attention too. So always kind of interesting when you're just kind of looking up the crowd who wants the attention. It's not hard to find there. 585-866-4326. We'll get an update from our Bills reporter, Sal Capaccio. Will join us here bottom of this hour. Hopefully he dried out. I'm assuming he's driving back to Buffalo, because although the team stays here, the team does work that is not in front of the cameras tomorrow. There is no practice tomorrow. But for the media, well, maybe Sal kind of sneaks home and is with his family tonight. I'm not sure whereabouts we'll catch up with Sal, but we will. That's coming up at 1:25 today. So just one guest today, which means we have plenty of time for your calls at 585-866-4326. It's brought to you by Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, award-winning barbecue from Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub, 135 West Commercial Street, East Rochester, goodsmokebbq.com. The table is set. So many players, if you're going to go out to camp, that you would be interested in. And, if you missed yesterday's show, we talked to 13 Wham's Mike Catalana. And he's got an interesting perspective, because not only does he cover the Buffalo Bills, I mean, he's from, Philadelphia area. He follows the Eagles. He knows the pros and cons of C.J. Gardner-Johnson. And Mike kind of gave us this take yesterday with C.J. Gardner-Johnson that, all right, this is, as a Bills fan, know what it is, and we're all signing up for.
I think C.J. Gardner-Johnson can be a very important player for this team. You just have to be prepared for the stuff with C.J. And it's not like somebody's making it up. You heard about this. I mean, 7 teams in 5 years. There's a real reason for that. And he's a short-term guy. And to pretend otherwise, it's not like anybody on the Bills is even saying that. He signed a 1-year deal. I think he has talent. I think he'll hit people. Bean talked about the physical nature. It's the way he plays. He's going to make some big plays, and then he's probably going to miss on some, and Cole Bishop's going to have to cover his butt. Like, that's what's going to have to happen. And it is going to be really something to see how he is during the whole year, ups and downs when things don't go well. So let's see. But we're talking about a guy who's had big success in the league. He's won a Super Bowl, he's been in a couple, he's played a lot of snaps, but nobody's going to be surprised if he's a guy who's somewhere else next year. Now, that's happened when he's won a Super Bowl. So if I told you he wins a Super Bowl and then goes everywhere else, you'll be like, I don't care. But I think he can make a lot of plays for them. It's just a matter of, how everything else goes.
Yeah, that's spot on. And so far, 2 days through camp, I mean, not that we're expecting anything, but some people want to make it a big deal. Oh, my gosh, Joe Brady told him to stop the live feed. And he did. End of story. There's what do you look at? You're really trying to read into something if you're going from that. What I would kind of point to is, as long as things are going fine, when you couple the idea that, okay, he's going to be out there, but what if there is somebody that is ready to take some time here? What if Geno Stone all of a sudden has a really great camp? What if Jordan Hancock, who we saw a little bit last year, well, what if he takes that step forward? That's the fun part of camp, right? Jalen Kilgore is somebody, but I'm not sure if Kilgore, his skill set actually translates. There's so many things about the safety position here. We got to kind of just wait and see. But that could be one storyline. You heard Joe DiBiase on the morning show talk about this today, that, all right, playing time might be something eventually. And that's how it ended in Houston, that he wasn't getting, the role he was in. All right, well, but for now, everything is fine. And maybe we do get to a point in camp where, and we didn't get this probably because it's raining, it's the days where it's 82, it's hot, and you're just a little edgy, and you're doing this damn drill again, and everyone's on edge, and you're going to see a little camp scuffle. By the way, there's nothing wrong with that, right? So long as if it's, doesn't go over the top. Like, there was a few times where, Sean McDermott would send off Alec Anderson. Like that's long as you manage that stuff. If we had to say who would be that player, just because we know this guy runs his mouth. So if you're going to camp on Saturday, and Saturday is the next time that we'll see the Bills, 8:30 in the morning, C.J. Gardner-Johnson is the guy that you're watching. He brings this attitude. It's something that really we didn't have in the Sean McDermott era. You can say maybe Diggs, but
it's different on that side of the ball.
It's different on that side of the ball, number one. The receiver position always comes with a little bit of that. And for Diggs, I don't think he was ever outwardly like the way Gardner-Johnson is. So keep an eye on number 22 for the Buffalo Bills if you're headed over to camp, C.J. Gardner-Johnson. Carolina brought up Cole Bishop. I find it fascinating in Cole Bishop because he is one player on this team where I'm not sure. Like, when joined by Sal Capaccio, he always does Monday. Hey, it's arrow up, arrow down. Well, what's it going to be with Cole Bishop this year? Is it going to be arrow up, arrow down, or just kind of flat? Because Cole Bishop this time last year, I don't know. Like, is he going to earn a job? Is it? And all of a sudden, boom, it all kind of clicked in. Now it's a new system. How does he adapt? Did the league catch up to him in any way? Can he take another step forward? I mean, when we joined by Matt Perino, he says, oh, yeah, the potential is there. I want to see it. I want to see if Cole Bishop, are we going to get to November and say, my gosh, Cole Bishop is one of the best safeties in this league? Could be. Fun trivia question. And you know the answer since I'm on the topic. Who led the Buffalo Bills in tackles last year?
Cole Bishop.
That's right. personally, I'd rather have my linebacker, Terrell Bernard. It was Dorian Williams 2 years ago, and the Bills were a little banged up at that position. Oh, we'll get to the linebackers for sure. But, yeah, that's – and if they're going to drop them down more in the box, who doesn't like a safety that can tackle? A new defensive coordinator. Jim Leonard speaking today. Jim Leonard offering his thoughts on Cole Bishop.
For a guy like Cole, when you have that breakout and the system changes, right, sometimes you panic a little bit early. And that, having him a little bit limited in the offseason, I think was good. We're able to have a lot more one-on-one conversations with him and teach the scheme and show him how he fits rather than just being thrown into the fire of trying to compete and execute every single day. And that was the number one thing I tried, trying to turn the situation that we had in the offseason into a really positive one that way. This will free him up, just like Ed. You talk about Ed up front and the different things we can do with him. The safety group, I see the same way. I was always a Swiss Army knife that kind of did a lot of different things, and that's what I like my safety group to be. There's going to be a lot of different roles and a lot of different positions and techniques they're asked to do, and that fits Cole Bishop's play style and his personality very well.
When you were looking at camp last year, I remember seeing days where Sean McDermott would go over and coach up, going back to his rookie year, season 2, like go up and coach up Cole Bishop. Oh, you like that? Yeah, that's Sean McDermott rolling up his sleeves and talking to the guy who played his position. As great a mind as Sean McDermott was defensively, is there something to be said about somebody who not only has that mindset for that position, but actually played in the league? I never, I hate people like, oh, you never played in the league. But it is a positive that Jim Leonard actually did this for the Bills, played under Rex Ryan. You want to talk about, if you had the name like defensive coordinator's most aggressive, yeah, it's the Rex Ryan defense. And that was when the Jets were sort of at the peak. Right? Like he was there when Mark Sanchez was leading him to AFC championship games. Jim Leonard was he was a reliable player that probably lasted in this league for a long time because he played special teams, was smart, was never out of position. I mean, for Cole Bishop, the safeties last year at the beginning, like, was that a Taylor Rapp thing? Was it? I'm going back. There were times last year like, but then when Jordan Poyer came in and paired with Cole Bishop, all of a sudden, I didn't seem too concerned about the safeties last year. It seemed like everything settled down. And maybe that's when the weather's turning and you could – I'm curious to see how this is going to work because where Jordan Poyer, his skill set was, I'm going to be the run stuffer. That's not C.J. Gardner-Johnson. C.J. Gardner-Johnson, you want him to be that center fielder. You want him reading plays. You want him to have that edge. And in that cut from Mike Catalana, there's going to be some times where, yeah, he might get burned on it. Might get burned. But we want more splash plays in this defense, right? We want more plays. Sal Capaccio will be joining us here in a little bit. 585-866-4326. Another day where, Terrell Bernard not out there in the team drills. And we'll ask Sal what that is all about. But spotlight on one of the rookies. Caleb Elam's-Orr. Jim Leonard giving his thoughts on the rookie linebacker.
He's taken advantage of a huge opportunity, right, with backers ahead of him not being on the field, and he's calm, like he's collected. He wants that role. He wants to be a lead communicator for a defense. That's what he's done in the past, and he doesn't blink. He's definitely taken advantage of the opportunity of more reps.
Yeah, and that's also a good thing there too. Finally, here's the defensive coordinator talking about the corner depth because, these corners, you think on paper we're all set, but I'd like a little bit more. Let's hear what the defensive coordinator has to think about the corner depth.
Yeah, there's a number of depth concerns. Just not a ton of experience past the first group, right? That's going to be a heated battle among many during camp. So definitely one we have our eyes on. We like who we have. We like the talent. We like where they're at currently. There's a lot to be determined on that field, and they're going to get the opportunity to go compete and win roles.
Yeah, I still think Tre'Davious White, if the money's right, Trey, come back, buddy. Even if it presents as corner 4, you will be active every game. Injuries happen in this league. And maybe Tre'Davious White knows that injuries happen in this league And if he still wants to play, you know what? Do I really want to be in camp first week in August? No. Like, if I could sign somewhere, and maybe this is the trend also, because if we're talking about the linebacker position, that would be my question. There were two guys on that tattered defense last year. And by tattered, I'm talking about from the injury front. But two guys in a depth role that stepped up. Tre'Davious White was not supposed to be a starter last year. It was supposed to be Maxwell Harrison. Harrison gets hurt, and then things fall into place for White, and White kind of got off to a little bit of a rocky start. Remember that Week 3 game against the Dolphins. But by the end of the year, you're like, wow, he's making plays. He breaks up the pass that leads to the game-winning interception by Cole Bishop in the Jacksonville game. So I ask the question again, why isn't Tre'Davious White in some camp right now? He is an emotional guy. He wears his heart on his sleeve. I understand that. And maybe, I don't know, it's just speculation on my part. Is it because he views himself still as a starter? Doesn't want to be quarter four, doesn't want to be told, hey, I got to compete for a job? Yeah, it gets tiring after a while. I have a guy who was former all-pro and had to work back from multiple injuries in this league, ACL, Achilles. And you work all the way back, and now you're still on the sideline here. I would feel so much better about this, this corner group if you had somebody like that, because like you see the tape and you see the physical skills of Maxwell Harrison, and who's to say? Because if you go back this time last year, we're not talking about Cole Bishop in the way we're talking about him now. So we're not talking about Maxwell Harrison the way we talk about Cole Bishop, are we? No, we're not. We're talking about potential, talking about the missed time, talking about, okay, you spend a second-round pick on a corner that has a completely different skill set. Can one of these two corners make you say, wow, the Bills have this kind of figured out? The secondary for Buffalo is exciting. The linebackers in Buffalo have me a little bit nervous. They just do. I like Terrell Bernard. Dorian Williams is somebody that's gifted, and again, if you go back 2 years, he led the team in tackles. But it's funny, you don't think of him maybe because he doesn't have that resume of, hey, here are the plays that help change a game. He's just kind of been reliable, I guess, in both spots. So those two guys, I wouldn't say that they'll be your starters come November. Maybe Elam Zor comes up. But if it's not Elam Zor, like, what's the next plan then? Joanne Dreesen? Jimmy Charlo? Yeah, there's a lot of questions here when it comes to linebacker position. Of course, the semantics of it all, too. Like, is Bradley Chubb really a linebacker? Are we considering Greg Rousseau a linebacker? Technically, yes. It's as Sal explained to us back in the spring, you got to think of it just guys in a 5-man front. And if Rousseau doesn't have his hand on the ground, all right, well, I guess that would be considered a linebacker. Another exciting part of this, like, can that defensive line, well, that's something unlocked there for Rousseau. Something unlocked there for maybe the guy on the other side, Bradley Chubb. When Bradley Chubb got signed, we're like, oh, all right, well, that's not – the reaction when Bradley Chubb got signed, it's not Max Crosby, it's not Trey Hendrickson. Man, we didn't get Micah Parsons. But can just Bradley Chubb be the best – I'm talking very coaches here, like a coach. Can Bradley Chubb just be the best version of Bradley Chubb? And we're not even really considering TJ Parker other than just kind of a depth piece. But, yeah, rookie pass rushers have been known to make impacts. Can the Bills finally hit on one of those guys? We're just conditioned to think, oh, a rookie pass rusher, another second-rounder. Maybe it's different this year with Parker. 585-866-4326. We've got other things to get to on the show today. Some baseball. The Yankees will be going at it coming up in the 2 o'clock hour as they finish up their series against the White Sox. Trade deadline coming up on Monday. Just a note for Sabre fans. I want to kind of get your I'm curious to get your viewpoint here on your viewing experience, if this is going to change at all with the team getting away from the Gotham app. We'll get to that as well. And again, your calls on the Good Smoke Barbecue and Pub Wingman line at 585-866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
Opportunity employer.
WGR Rochester Sports Update.
Practice number 2 at Fisher in the books for the Buffalo Bills. Another rainy morning. The new defensive coordinator for the Bills, Jim Leonard. Leonard talking about the progress of rookie Caleb Elamzor.
He's taken advantage of a huge opportunity, right, with backers ahead of him not being on the field, and he's calm, like he's collected. He wants that role. He wants to be a lead communicator for a defense. That's what he's done in the past, and he doesn't blink. He's definitely taken advantage of the opportunity and more reps.
8:30 Saturday morning, the next practice. Tomorrow, the team will not be on the field. Sal Capaccio, WGR Bills reporter, will join us next year in the Sports Bar. Red Wings doubleheader begins at 5 o'clock. Syracuse is the opponent. The Yankees finishing up their series, looking to win 3 of 4 here against the White Sox. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader, 95.7 FM, AM 950, WGR Rochester.
Straight up with no chaser. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
Catching up with Sal Capaccio as he was taking in practice this morning. And Sal, have you dried out yet, or was that a preparation, bringing extra shorts, extra socks? How are you this morning, Sal?
Pretty good. It's afternoon, by the way, pal, just so you know.
Yes. There we go. I'm upside down here with these 2 hours.
No, that's okay. Hey, listen, it was very wet yesterday, and I thought it'd be a lot drier today. And we get out there, and it's cloudy, and it's dry, and then the rain came again, and it just was kind of a misty, light rain all practice. So, yeah, I've dried out now, headed back to Buffalo, and I like these new practice times and having practice end earlier. Yesterday it ended at 10. Today was like 10:05 a.m.
Yeah, it's get the work in, and it's Sal, anybody can relate to something like that. If you're gonna have like a workout or a run, do the hard thing in the morning, get it out of the way, and then frees up your day. Sal, it is a new camp because there is a new head coach, and you mentioned the earlier start times. Seeing the offense in blue and the defense in white. Okay, I guess that's a new thing too. Anything else kind of stick out to you in terms of being new here with Joe Brady at the helm?
Not from a practice operational standpoint. I like to say, Gene, and I think we talked about this before. This is my 5th head coach I've covered. Practice is practice. You don't really get a lot of difference from practice to practice. It might be a bit different on what days they do red zone work or 2-minute, but you would never even know that, because you're always doing that. There's music playing, it's high energy, and it doesn't matter if it's Sean McDermott or Rex Ryan or Joe Brady or Chan Gailey. Practice is practice. From an operational standpoint, those things don't change. It's really kind of the names, the people you hear from. Like today when we're there talking with Jim Leonard about the defense, that's a big departure from talking with Sean McDermott or Bobby Babich about the defense, right? It's just you get to know different people, and then you understand that they're doing different things, running a different scheme. And then I think anything that comes with the full operation of the team, we'll see more as we get longer into camp, and then especially into games, preseason and regular season.
Yeah, and Sal, as you know, I don't want to overreact, not 2 days in, but it is kind of worth monitoring, right? The linebacker situation on this team. What's your read here on Terrell Bernard, how they're kind of slow playing this? Any idea what he's dealing with? If you can kind of size up that position right now for the team.
Well, I don't know if he's dealing with anything new. It doesn't feel like that. It very well could be. It kind of feels and sounds like it's just lingering from last year when he had a pretty bad ankle injury, and he tried to push through it, and it just never got better. And then he missed some of OTAs and minicamp, and he told us he was still recovering, and he was going to be very thoughtful about how he needed to go about his training and making sure he's available for the season. So then when we show up yesterday, he does individual position work, but he doesn't do team, 7-on-7, 11-on-11. And Brandon Beane said he's fine, but with his training, there's certain marking points where you want to ramp him up to a certain spot, and they're going to be ramping him up. So go out there today, and again, he really doesn't do any of that today. So maybe that comes on Saturday. I don't know. With that, is Dorian Williams in the same boat? We also know, though, that Dorian Williams did suffer, believe it or not, a bilateral knee fracture during OTAs, which is why he missed minicamp. And he's already back on the field, but he's not participating. So now you have rookie Caleb Elarm-Zor, who generally would have been already fighting with Dorian Williams, I think, for the weak side linebacker spot. But now he's actually playing for Terrell Bernard while he's out, calling the defense. You have Keontae Jenkins, who's pretty much the next man up. Joe Andreessen as well, getting in the mix there. So you're really tapping into your depth, and I agree. But Caleb Elarm-Zor, to me, is becoming a story of this camp, not only for everything I just talked about, but I'm impressed with him. Joe Brady and especially Jim Leonard seem very impressed with him. I'm not going to predict here he's taking Terrell Bernard's spot. I don't think that's going to happen. But I think they had to find a spot for him. And I think he very well could wind up starting next to Terrell Bernard instead of Dorian Williams.
Could he be on the inside? Does his skill set allow for him to be kind of the guy that could bounce back and forth? Describe what kind of linebacker he is from what we know here at this point, Sal.
Well, in the Bills' new defense, they're both inside. They don't have a outside. The outside linebackers are edge rushers now, right? So you have 4 linebackers. 2 are on the outside. That's your Michael Hoyt, your Greg Rousseau, your Bradley Chubb. The inside linebackers are Terrell Bernard and Dorian Williams or Caleb Elarm-Zor. But to your point, I understand why you asked, just so people know, just to clarify how it works. If you want to be called the Mike linebacker, which is considered the middle, and then the weak side, but that's still more inside, could he be that? That would simply depend on Terrell Bernard's health. Look, I look at it this way. If Terrell Bernard's healthy, he's playing. They paid the guy a lot of money last year. He's your team captain. He's only in the second year of that contract extension. So the only way I think that Caleb Elarm-Zor plays the Mike linebacker spot, the middle, is if Terrell Bernard is not healthy. If he's not, then I definitely think he could do that because he's getting those reps there right now.
Yeah, I love the way Bernard plays, and if he's healthy, I'm 100% with you, Sal. There's no reason for change. He's your team captain. Sal Capaccio joining us here. You brought up the name Michael Hoyt. Were you surprised at all that we saw him out there day one as well as day two coming off that Achilles injury?
I was pleasantly surprised, but not shocked because Michael Hoyt is a guy that told us, a month and a half ago, that he thought he was possibly on track and he was aiming for it and he wanted to do it and he'd been working his butt off. And we saw that at OTAs and minicamp when he was on the side. And let's remember, even at minicamp, he was doing individual position work. So for him to be out there and doing that on day one at training camp didn't surprise me. What really opened my eyes was today he was doing 11 on 11. He was out there with the defense. And now they're not hitting right now. They don't have pads on, but they're going full speed. He was out there doing that. And he had a sack. Now, they're not bringing the quarterback down, but we call it a sack. It would have been a sack. And he's already making his presence felt. So from that standpoint, that was pretty eye-opening to see Michael Hoyt. It's great, though. It's great news for him, great news for the Bills.
Yeah, Sal Capaccio, driving back to Buffalo. He'll be back here Saturday morning here in the Flower City as Bills camp will go quickly here, the St. John Fisher portion. More from Leonard today, and he was asked about the depth at the corner position. And again, we're only 2 days in. It's hard to kind of evaluate, Sal, but just kind of position overall, how would you assess where we are right now? I don't know if we call it a competition or not, but certainly I think it is interesting. Igbinosin against Maxwell Harrison, seeing who's going to get some time coming up here.
Yeah, I've never felt there was a real competition other than if Max Harrison were to falter for some point. To me, Max Harrison's your starter with Christian Benford, and Davison Igbinosin is there to pounce on a job if Max Harrison can't stay healthy or can't fit into the system. But I think he's tailor-made for the system. He's a man corner. He's just not long. He's not this really long, tall guy, but he's an elite speed, change of direction, man corner, and that's what you want, and that's what Jim Leonard talked about with him today. I do think Davison Igbinosin is a guy they like a lot. That's why they drafted him in the second round. He brings a lot of traits they don't have. He's long. He's physical. He can do all those things that they've been waiting for, for him, for a guy, and need for a guy at that spot. So I don't want to call it a competition right now. That's just me. Now, I get why some people do. The guy was drafted in the second round, but, Max Harrison 1 year removed from being a first-round pick. I think Max Harrison had a really good OTA. He had a really good mini camp. And I put some video today, if you can go over and you can see it on my X feed at Sal Sports, and I even wrote that I think Max Harrison's been a bit of a forgotten man, but man, his change of direction is elite. When you watch him, he just has a he just has an athletic skill set that you just don't get, and isn't just walking around colleges' campuses to draft onto your NFL team. So that's where I see that. I think the real competition comes in at behind these guys. Like, who is the number 4 outside corner right now? They don't have one. It's got to be either Toriano Pride, who's a 7th-round pick, Kanai Walker, or Jordan Dunbar, who are undrafted free agents. And if none of those are really stepping up to actually earn like a roster spot and be worthy enough of playing on an NFL roster on game day, they got to go outside the organization. And maybe that's Tre'Davious White. Maybe that's somebody else who's sitting out there. But I don't think there's as much of a competition at the top yet. The only way that happens, Gene, to me, is if Max Harrison either can't stay healthy or for some reason he's just not fitting in.
Yeah, I mean, Sal, I think everybody would be excited if Tre'Davious White, came back and hopefully he lands somewhere, and I would just be speculating as to the reasons why, but would he be comfortable? I don't know, because I'd be asking you to speculate too here, but to me, if you bring him back, I'm really, really excited about the corner position. Well, right now, I think they're good, but man, if you get a veteran that can back everything up and teach these kids a thing or two, White to me would be. I don't know if he's a perfect fit or not with this new system. Just your thoughts, if you can expand a little bit on Trey White and what the process he might be going through right now.
I think it could never hurt to have a guy like that. It could never hurt to have a player who has been through it all, seen it, done that, different systems, had a first-round pick, knows the organization, they know him, they know his character, his work ethic. He'd be great for younger players. There's no doubt about that. I think the problem comes in with a guy like Trey White. I'll call it a problem. You don't have to look at it that way, but I think the issue is when you sign a guy like that, it's not that he's necessarily not comfortable being a backup. I think he'd be fine because remember last year that was his role anyway with Max Harrison until Max got hurt, and then Trey basically wound up playing more. I think that you have to decide how much you want to pay him, and at this level of his career, I don't think a guy like that is coming in for the minimum salary. But you can't pay him a ton of money to be your 4th outside corner, right? I mean, that's got to match up, and that's just the reality of the business sometimes. Last year, Trey White, I think, made $6 million with up to $8 million incentives. There's no way you can do that if you're the Buffalo Bills right now. But how much money would he want to come back to play, and what is that worth? There's got to be a meeting of the two philosophies there, and I get from both sides why that might not match up.
Yeah. Sal, one player that I'd love to get your thoughts on, because this time last year when we were talking about Cole Bishop, all right, what do we think of Cole Bishop? And we really didn't see it, his rookie season. And then all of a sudden it came together. What about Cole Bishop in this new system? Could he even take a step forward, or should we caution against that, knowing that, hey, it is a new system, we're not sure? What are your thoughts about Cole Bishop going here from year 2 to year 3?
Jim Leonard said something interesting when he was asked this kind of question today. He said a lot of times when you make a leap from year 1 to year 2, and then there's a change in scheme, there can be panic. Like, oh my God, I was on a really good path, and now all of a sudden it's gone, I got to start over. He said he's really made sure with Cole that Cole understands that he fits really well in this system. We're going to build on your strengths, and you're on a great trajectory, regardless. And I think that's where it's got to start with Cole, to understand that. Then he's got to be healthy. He had some stuff cleaned up in his knee and missed minicamp. He had injuries his rookie year. Cole plays a physical style of football. He's going to have to stay healthy as well. So I think that's where it's got to start. From there, I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting him to take another step. You drafted him in the 2nd round. A system might, maybe it takes a little longer in the year to kind of get everything of the system. And as the season goes on, he starts to have that trajectory and that incline, getting better. But I don't think there's anything wrong with expecting Cole Bishop to, take another step. And as far as his fit in the system, I mean, Jim Leonard, he plays exactly what Jim Leonard did. Jim Leonard was this style of safety. Plays in the box, plays back, can move him around, do a lot of different things. I think Jim Leonard has some plans for Cole Bishop. What's the good thing with Cole Bishop is that he has now C.J. Gardner-Johnson with him. C.J. Gardner-Johnson is a ball hawk. He's going to play away from the ball. He's going to play up top. He's going to allow Cole Bishop to move around, and that's what the Bills want in Cole Bishop. Cole Bishop can play free safety and use his, athletic ability to go get the ball, but he's best suited to be everywhere and kind of just do a little bit of everything, and you can kind of disguise with him, and that's what the Bills want to do.
We're not considering that an open competition, or are we? Like the CJ Gardner-Johnson, and we're all kind of curious about his story and how he's been to so many places and how he likes to talk on the field. But, Geno Stone is also back there. He's got a resume. Jordan Hancock. There might be guys that, hey, putting their hand up in the air. Is that door open, that spot next to Cole Bishop right now, Sal?
No, zero competition. It's C.J. Gardner-Johnson's job. He might be the best defender at training camp the first 2 days, by the way. I went back and looked at C.J. Gardner-Johnson's career last night, where he's been. He's been on 5 teams over 8 years, which could be a red flag, but there's a lot of reasons why. I mean, he's teams that brought him back, and then they let him go. He colors outside the lines sometimes, right? And I think that can wear on you, but you love having him on your team. I went back and looked over his 8 years of his NFL career. He's never been on a team that won less than 9 games. He's been to 2 Super Bowls, won 1. He's a winner, super competitive. Zero competition for the starting safety job, only behind these guys.
Yeah, and anybody that says, all right, he might say some things. Sal, this locker room has got to be as strong as, well, I don't know, as we've had here in the time. That wouldn't be, if there was an issue, I wouldn't expect it to go very far.
Yeah, I mean, it remains to be seen. I don't know. I can't say this locker room is that strong. I mean, this locker room has been tight over the last several years with Sean McDermott. I mean, you go back to the Micah Hydes and Jordan Poyers and Lorenzo Alexanders, even the Eric Woods and Kyle Williams, all the guys that have been here, like, you can go back a while, but I think this has been a really super tight, strong locker room. Dawson Knox, a big blue guy, Dalton Kincaid coming in. I mean, but you don't know. I mean, there's a new guy that's in charge of the culture. That's Joe Brady. And you never know until you get in the season. And look what happened a couple of days ago. C.J. Gardner-Johnson was on a live Twitch stream. And literally, Joe Brady, you could hear him say, hey, we don't do that in the locker room or the training room. And C.J. Gardner-Johnson, he shut it down. And these are things that pop up, and how Joe Brady handles that, how the players navigate that. But I think that the good thing that we've seen from Joe Brady and Jim Leonard, who talked about this today, very thing, is you got to let these guys be themselves. And sure, it's not everybody's always going to get along or agree all the time, but as long as you respect each other, know where each other's coming from, that's what makes a good locker room.
Sal, what did you think of Josh Allen yesterday in so many words saying, hey, you know what, everybody, knock it off with the uniforms. Enough already here. I liked it because we shouldn't be don't let any negativity, whether it's uniforms or anything, talk. What did you make of Josh going out of his way to make that point yesterday?
Well, let me first say that Josh Allen and many of the other people, especially coaches, but the higher level guys, the higher premier guys, are very, very prepped on what's probably going to be asked of them when they get up to the podium. You know what I mean? Like, I'm quite sure he knew that question might be coming, so he was ready to answer it. And it's in the Bills' best interest for Josh Allen to let everybody know that he likes the uniforms, right? So I'm not saying he does or doesn't like them, but why he is certainly not going to add fuel to the fire and say, yeah, I really don't like them. Like, that would not be beneficial to him or the organization. He's the face of the organization. So for him to say that is not a surprise. I don't know how much he actually was paying attention to the feedback, but obviously someone told him that there's been negative feedback.
Yeah, just and there it is. Just get it out of the way, and we'll see I don't know when they'll announce it, but we'll get those, I would think, twice this season. Sal, as far as DJ Moore, and the first time fans have seen this kind of connection. Our guy Timmy went to practice this morning here. He's like, oh, that looks different. That was his feedback to me. What's your initial take here of seeing how DJ Moore and what he might do for this offense?
I'll go back to them during OTAs and minicamp. I think that DJ Moore and Josh Allen have had a really good chemistry so far. And the way I've described DJ Moore is this, and every day I dig my heels more and more on kind of describing him this way, which is he's just a really, really good football player. He does not have an elite trait that he's the fastest guy in the field or the biggest guy on the field, but he just wins everywhere on the field. He wins short. He wins intermediate. He can get deep. He can win with the ball in his hands. He wins vertically, horizontally. He just knows how to play football. He knows how to run routes. He has great hands. The Bills he reminds me of Stephon Diggs. I mean, that's what he reminds me of. He does. That's what Stephon was. Stephon was not this elite traits guy, but he was just really freaking good. And that's DJ Moore to me. And I think that's what this offense has missed over the last couple of years. And now, you bring him in and he becomes kind of your number one guy. I think he's clearly the number one, wide receiver in the room. And when you have money downs and money plays, you look to him. But I think the reviews have been really good so far. Has it been perfect? No. I mean, wet couple days, couple drop passes. Yesterday, people made a big deal about Keon Coleman dropping the first pass, and I get it, and he did. Made a really nice catch on the second pass. DJ Moore, a couple balls behind him yesterday, I think, during some pre-warm-ups. These things are going to happen. That's why you practice. But I think the majority of things that I've seen have been way more positive, and he has looked really good with Josh Allen.
And one more on the wide receivers, because I saw on your X feed, Sal, there's, hey, Josh Allen, hey, Skyler, run that again. What was that exchange like here? Skyler Bell, how he has done, not just from the spring up till now here.
Yeah, they're in the practice warm-up session, running routes. And it seemed like there was a miscommunication, or maybe Josh just threw it behind him, or maybe Skyler Bell ran it a little too quick. Either way, that's what you practice for. And towards the end of that particular grouping, Skyler Bell ran a simple in cut. Josh was way behind him. Like I said, could have been miscommunication, could have been on one or the other. You don't really know. And typically right after that, Josh would run down to the other end to get ready for more, but he stayed. And he let whoever was going next, I think it was Kyle Allen with somebody, throw a ball. And then I heard him say, Skyler. He looked at him and he kind of pointed come on back and let's do this again. And they ran the same route and they connected. So that's what you want to see, right? I mean, these guys want to get it right, and let's make sure we're on the same page. And those things, that's what practice is for. And, Skyler Bell is just to me, he's a smooth wide receiver. I think he's going to fit well with this offense, but there's only so many balls for everybody eats to go around. And, if the Bills have their way, and I think if everything happened in an ideal world, I think, Keon Coleman is going to be a big part of this offense and take a jump and be, maybe your number 3 guy behind Moore and Shakir. You have Dalton Kincaid. How many balls are there for Skyler Bell to actually have? You know what I mean?
Yeah, for sure. Sal, anything from today's practice, that observations, anything like that you noticed that I haven't asked you about here today?
I put some video out, some of the defensive ends, the edge rushers, and I got to tell you, Gene, every day I'm thinking more and more about how I think TJ Parker is a much better athlete than maybe we thought he was coming out of the draft. His footwork is really good. You could see some of that right there. He changes direction really well for a bigger man. So I like that about him. And, today I was literally on WGR talking about this very thing. And while I'm talking, he got in the backfield and batted down a pass. It's not the bend, right? It's not that, you draft these guys to play that position to get pass rush and to get sacks and things like that. He might get that stuff. I'm not talking about that kind of thing. I'm just talking about playing the position, moving around, footwork, speed, change of direction. That's something I noticed today for sure.
Sal Capaccio will be back in town on Saturday. Tell everybody the schedule here for Always Game Day in Buffalo, and where they can kind of get more of the content. Certainly your notes up at WGR Rochester coming up here too.
So it's perfect timing because I will be home here in a little while, and Matt Bove and I are going to live on It's Always Game Day in Buffalo. You can watch it on my X feed. That should be about 2:15 p.m. So if you're still on the air, people can wait. They can watch the recorded version. We won't take anything away from you. But no, we will be live at about 2:15. If people are bumping around on X or on YouTube, at Sal Sports on YouTube, you can watch it after we do it, but get involved in the chat box too. And then I'll have my practice observations and articles at gr550.com. The team is off tomorrow, back at it on Saturday at St. John Fisher.
Yeah, Sal, we'll be checking that out. And look, I take no offense if somebody wants to, tune in to Sal at 2:15. We're all one happy family here at WGR. Even though we're like the AAA affiliate here in Rochester. Sal, appreciate the time today, and we'll check that out. Thanks so much, bud.
You got it, man. Thanks.
Thanks, Sal Capaccio. Here, we got to come up with a hotline. I got to sell that, Tim.
We could do that.
I mentioned this to Sal in the put in your words, what did you see out of DJ Moore today?
DJ Moore is Stephon Diggs without being a diva. You had the drama with Diggs. DJ Moore is a football player And you could tell that just from the first snap that they had. It was just a drill. There was no defense. And then they added the defense, and he absolutely burned D. Alford. I think Alford, there was something lost in that. It was a great play by Moore, and everything that Moore did today, flawless, even in the weather.
Okay, so why haven't we ever mentioned him in any breath of being an elite receiver? Stephon Diggs,
I will say
elite receiver. Go ahead.
I think we have discussed DJ Moore as an elite receiver, but you got to know where the teams that he was on. He was on a crappy Panthers team and a crappy Bears team.
That was not a crappy Bears team last year. He was, and he produced last year. He had receivers around him, but if they're investing in Roman Dunze with a high draft pick and Luther Burden, they might view that as a position of strength, and we could just save a little money here in that regard. It was a pricey move for Buffalo to give up that draft pick and then to pay DJ Moore. So I'm pleased to hear the early reviews are like this, but I'm not going to say he's Diggs. I want to see more. Diggs was the best in the league when it came to route running. Honestly, like he could just just get open like that. So to hear both you and Sal say, just to mention that analogy, I'm like, now I'm sitting up straight.
I think you'll be pleasantly surprised. And I know that you weren't all in and you've been banging the drum of Khalil Shakir for most of the offseason. DJ Moore, to me, is the clear-cut number one. And again, it's only been 2 days. But
No doubt. No doubt. Moore is number one. And I'm standing by Shakir is number two. And if it all goes according to plan, and again, definitively can't say anything about Keon Coleman here on July 30th, right? On August 30th, we're not going to say anything definitively about Keon Coleman. We have to get into the season. But in a perfect world, he's your number three. And in a perfect world, Dalton Kincaid is getting more targets, which means Keon Coleman is getting the fourth most targets on this team.
Maybe fifth. And if Skylar Bell emerges, Joshua Palmer.
Part of this, too, was Skylar Bell was out there a half hour after practice ended this morning, according to reports. And you could see the footage out there. Like, all right, the kid's putting in work.
Every pass rep that Bell got was with Josh Allen today.
Yeah. So that's noteworthy, too. We'll have your terrible take coming up. We have more opinions and everything. Got to get to some more things. We got a Kyle Shanahan update as well. Look, the poor guy, like he get his face smooshed in, and now he's become kind of a meme. We'll explain. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
Sports leader, 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR Rochester, an Odyssey sports station. WGR Rochester, Sports Update.
Practice number 2 for the Buffalo Bills in the books. Another 8:30 a.m. workout, lasted about an hour and a half. The new defensive coordinator is Jim Leonard. Leonard talking about the situation at cornerback.
Yeah, there's a number of depth concerns. Just not a ton of experience past the first group, right? That's going to be a heated battle among many during camp. So definitely one we have our eyes on. We like who we have. We like the talent. We like where they're at currently. There's a lot to be determined on that field, and they're going to get the opportunity to go compete and win roles.
8:30 a.m. Saturday, the next practice for the Bills at Fisher. Red Wings doubleheader beginning at 5 o'clock. Syracuse is the opponent. The Yankees coming up this hour, finishing their 4-game series against the White Sox. Bottom of the 6th, Texas up 2-1 on Tampa Bay. No score in the second between the Royals and the Twins. Cubs and Cardinals coming up at 2:15. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. WGR Rochester.
Stay for a while, you're in the sports bar on WGR. Grab a drink, hang your coke, it's sports talk. Live from Western New York. It's a master show. 9 times better than your typical host. 9 times. Gene and Tim have takes much hotter than most. No one cares when you're out. Sabres! Bills, Americans, Red Wings, and Nighthawks. Sports bar for Rochester Sports Talk.
Hour number 2. Thank you for joining us here in the Flower City from the downtown studios, High Falls District. Gene Battaglia with you as we have open phones. We got a whole hour to talk sports with you here in the Flower City. 585-866-4326. We've got Tim's Terrible Take coming up. We can certainly talk more about Buffalo Bills football. We will talk more Bills football. Sal Capaccio joined us and gave us a rundown. Says, no, there is no competition at safety. That's C.J. Gardner-Johnson. He said C.J. Gardner-Johnson has stood out here in 2 days. I love hearing that. Absolutely love hearing that. Pretty much said no. Like where we'd say, hey, the Bills spent this second-round pick on a corner, and my gosh, you know, we didn't see enough for Maxwell Harrison. No. Sal is saying that's not a competition either. But as we heard in the update, it's an area right now that the Bills aren't sure about the depth. And the other headline story here is Terrell Bernard, that ankle still from last season, bringing it along slowly. I mean, not doing the 7-on-7, 11-on-11 stuff, but he's working out on the side. Something to kind of keep in mind, but as Sal pointing out, too, we have to recalibrate here in terms of what outside linebacker, inside linebacker. Technically, it's a 5-man front, and your outside linebackers are Bradley Chubb, Greg Rousseau, and maybe Michael Hoyt spells one of the two. That's how it's going to look, and then 2 guys on the inside. So it's going to be a completely different look for this Bills defense coming up. 585-866-4326. Before we get to Tim's terrible take, here's my take. It's more of an observation, right? Is it just me, or is ESPN more often than not leading with the WNBA over Major League Baseball? Are they offering more coverage to the WNBA rather than the national pastime? Now, I'm not a WNBA hater. I don't hate on the sport. I will sit down and watch games. But I think it's an instance where they are a little hurt for what they didn't receive from Major League Baseball in their last agreement. Now, they paid baseball $550 million, right? And NBC pays only $200 million. I'm like, wait a second, how does that work? NBC gets the Sunday night game. That's what ESPN. Why does Well, the reason is because ESPN's getting all the streaming. But you would think that ESPN would want to promote this and want to get you excited, and therefore you pay for the streaming product. And how is streaming going to look when we finally get a new labor agreement? I don't know, but ESPN will have the rights to that. I just find it disproportionate because whenever I log on to ESPN.com or I'm turning on SportsCenter, I don't need every give me the headlines here. Angel Reese, Sophie Cunningham, and certainly Caitlin Clark. Tim, am I being a pig about this, or is that
No, I think you're onto something there because of how the way that the structure is. They bought that WNBA deal. They used the WNBA. They played the countless WNBA games instead of baseball. And I think that they're kind of force feeding that product down the casual fans' throats just to make sure that they know that ESPN has that entity as one of their marquee offerings. And frankly, it's not for everybody.
No, it's not. And the WNBA has they have no idea how to control their messaging. None. The latest one, hey, it's Angel and Sophie, and we're betting on what? You're betting?
Betting
what?
on a game that they are playing in as a joke, perhaps. Maybe it's real. I don't know. But those are two people betting on the sport that they're participating in. So, and there's a lot of controversy in that, and there has been forever. It's crazy.
I don't even know where to begin with that. I'm not even going down the road all the other stuff, all the other noise when it comes to that league. But that perturbs me a little bit. But if you're just looking at this from the business standpoint, ESPN pays, well, let me check that. I don't know exactly how much. But the WNBA, their new rights deal, overall, it's an average of $200 million a year, which you also have to include Prime is in that. There's one other partner too. It escapes me. So they're not paying the full $200 million, but can they make more profit and push it just by getting whatever ratings they can? It just seems like they're pushing on this just a little much. And I'm cognizant when we're talking sports with you, they're coming here to talk sports. Like, you don't need look, you want other things in the world, you go to other platforms and you get your takes on other stuff. For the WNBA, they can't figure that out. If it was just about the basketball and they can't get that messaging down, for me, it would start with just get a damn new commissioner. That's where it would start. All right, more Bills talks, more Bills takes. We have now the showstopper. Kidding.
It's now time for Terrible Time Timmy's Terrible Take of the Day on WGR Rochester. WGR Rochester. It's Terrible Time Timmy.
I'm going to start this one off with a question, and it is, have you watched Quarterback on Netflix?
Year one. You're talking about the new episode?
Yeah, okay.
Season?
So season
No.
1 was Cousins, Mahomes, and Marcus Mariota. Didn't watch it. Season 2 was Cousins, Joe Burrow, Jared Goff. Didn't watch it.
Mm-hmm. Season
Season 3 just came out 2 weeks ago. Jaden Daniels, Baker Mayfield, Cam Ward, Joe Flacco. I watched that 7-episode season within a 24-hour span, and I ate it up.
Really?
Yes.
Okay. Which guy did you learn? Because you could say, oh, my gosh, I thought I knew Joe Flacco, but I don't know anything about Cam Ward. Like, which guy did you find the most fascinating?
I found the most fascinating to be Baker Mayfield, but I found a lot, I watched it because I feel like I have a personal connection with Baker Mayfield being a Browns fan.
I love you, Baker. We should have never let you go.
You're damn right. And Joe Flacco, because during this season, he began the season with the Browns and ended up in Cincinnati as the season progressed. That was also fascinating to watch unfold. Jaden Daniels getting hurt in that season stinks, but it's part of the show. Cam Ward, actually a fascinating individual who has a wild career trajectory from unrecruited to at an Incarnate Word, which people don't know what that is, to all the way to Miami and then to the number 1 overall pick. But my point here is, 1, watch it. 2, Baker Mayfield in the news today because he has basically shut down talks with the Tampa Bay Buccaneers because he is disrespected. And this guy has always had a chip on his shoulder, and he's done a lot to maintain a chip on his shoulder. It feels like he's forcefully angry at the world just to make himself a better football player, and it seems to have worked for the most part throughout his career. But today he basically shut down the Bucs, said that they were disrespectful and they did not present an offer that was appealing, and that he's not going to discuss it with them. He will not be bothered with it throughout the season, and his agent isn't going to bother with it either unless it is something that is appealing to him long term.
He's not a top 10 quarterback in this league.
And that is actually true.
That's true. So, look, why would you pay him? Well, it's the quarterback position. You have to. This is the Buccaneers being in that Washington football kind of Kirk Cousins vortex. Oh, my gosh. We have somebody, but do we really, really want to put the ring on the finger long term? And what he's perturbed about, Tim, is, he got a contract offer. It was for 2 years. Which, okay, just get paid top dollar for 2 years. And, okay, if you want to call that disrespectful, I mean, I think the Buccaneers are actually playing this the correct way. They recognize, all right, we have Baker Mayfield. Could we do better? And if it's the worst case scenario, if everything kind of falls apart on the team, I mean, if you had to pick coaches, and we pointed this out before, who won't be coaching their team next year, and yes, it's a little bit morbid to talk about people being fired, but this is the NFL. Todd Bowles. Todd Bowles to me is like, all right, you're still here, going on to year number 4 here, and it was only because, hey, year 5 actually, you showed like 1 game improvements from year 1 to year 2, year 3, and then kind of bottomed out last year, and like, wow, they kept Bowles. They're not paying Vita Vea. It sounds like it's kind of an all-in scenario. And what's the worst-case scenario for Tampa in this situation? It's not that they fall apart and then they draft another quarterback. I'm sorry. The worst-case scenario is, all right, Baker Mayfield does just enough, and they win a playoff game, and now you're going to have to pay through the nose next year to franchise tag him and keep him. Look, do more of this. Show me. I like what Tampa's doing in regards to Baker Mayfield. Ooh, I'm disrespected. You know what? Go out there and play. Go win. And then make sure. And you've had talent around you. You've had one of the best running back trios in the league. That's a winnable division. There should be more from Baker Mayfield. And we just can't discount how Cleveland threw him out in the trash, Tim. Like, he was totally wrong there. Like, what led into that? What led into the, we're just kind of sick of this?
The chip on his shoulder is what cost him his career in Cleveland because he wouldn't shut himself down when he was playing hurt instead of just give it up.
No, it's because he's kind of a dick. Like, just call it for what it is. Like, he's kind of somebody like, okay, guy, and go back to his time at Oklahoma, planting the flag and doing all that stuff. Like, all right, if you win, everything goes away. Winning is the magic deodorant for everything. And have they won enough in Tampa? No, like, that's the Kirk Cousins analogy I'm drawing. Like, all right, I guess
they got off to a really good start last year, and then they bottomed out. And then for him to not take this deal because of that, I was a little surprised by.
You're like, when you say, like, you got to admit your bias, because for Cleveland, my gosh, since you came back from the dead, he led you to the best season.
Multiple times.
Yeah, that's it. So it's just such a weird ending, and you're still left with the corpse here of Deshaun Watson, who, by the way, he might end up winning the job there. 58586. Thank you, Tim.
That'll be a take for another day.
Yeah, we're full of takes here on the show. 585-866-4326 is our number. PJ Glasser, by the way, will be joining us in studio tomorrow. Now, this is not a public event, but we do. So it's funny. Like, this is where you and I are at different points in our life. So, not knowing PJ's itinerary, I'm like, hey, PJ, and I know where he's staying. I'm not disclosing that, but I just was texting with PJ. I'm like, hey, Thursday night, you want to get together for a beer? Let me know. Got the text. Gene, my flight. I'm doing the PJ voice. Gene, my flight is getting in from Baltimore at 5:10. Yeah, let's get together. Perfect. Now, here's the difference between Tim and I. I am married. We've called her on the show the executive producer, because some spouses go home, they don't listen to the show. I go home, and if there's something a little off color or something she didn't like about the show or something I could do better, or she's giving me ideas, that's why we've dubbed her the executive producer, my wife Julie. I didn't ask her for permission, but that's one where you gotta tee it up, Tim. I just can't go home tonight at 6 o'clock and be like, oh, hey, yeah, by the way, yeah, I'm heading out. And my kids are grown adults, still at home. Okay, we're ready to launch anytime, people. 22 and 20. But as far as telling the spouse I'm going out, Tim, that's something I didn't exactly ask for permission, but you don't want to spring it. Oh, that's awesome. Have a good time. Great. Tim, meanwhile, is at the other end of the spectrum because I come into the studio today. I'm like, hey, Tim, PJ, out tonight. You in? You're like, yeah, if the fields are dry, I can't do it. But if they're underwater still and softball's canceled, yeah. So you don't have to answer. Being single dude, you don't have to answer to anybody, number one. And you're still at I'm playing softball 3, 4, 5 nights a week.
Yeah, it's a dream life in somebody else's nightmare, and I'm living both of them. And I would love to be able to go out there, but I've made a prior commitment to my softball team, and I cannot leave them hanging because that's you can't let the team down.
I get it, and truthfully, tonight when PJ and I've never met him face to face. I'm glad he's coming in the Flower City. He's talked about this on the show. His younger brother Nathan is interning for the Wings, but that internship is going to be up. And crazy to think, like next week it's August, so they've got to get Nathan back to Ithaca where he's going to school. And so PJ and his mom flew up. And they're gonna they're gonna move them out this weekend, and that's it's just being a good family. It's a tight family. So looking forward to meeting PJ out tonight. And your TBD.
Yeah, I'll know in about 2 hours. And honestly, I hope for rain because I would love to share a cold one with PJ and you.
Yeah. If anybody's wondering about the former co-host of the show, Danger, he's actually not available. He's out of town. So there you go.
Just the three of us.
Just the three of us.
Or just the two of you.
Maybe. I'd look. It's the door's open for Dan DeLorean, but Dan DeLorean is not the go out and have a cold one sort of guy. Like he came to the Crosscheck Cancer event. I think that's about it. Like he's just he's somebody who just plays it low key, family
when we
guy.
Celebrated the award-winning sports bar at ESL, but he didn't imbibe. He just enjoyed our presence while we imbibed.
I did. You were like, not only did you see me throw a heater on the first pitch, but yeah, I had a good time.
You were in all your glory. I loved it.
I like going to Wings games, and I like going down the first baseline because that's where you get the crap brews.
Yeah,
I get the proud sponsor of the Sports Bar Roar Box.
Indeed,
right there. Thank you, Tim. One other note, and while we're kind of sticking on the TMZ portion of sports, we want to congratulate former University of Buffalo head coach for the men's basketball, Nate Oates. Of course, Nate Oates left Buffalo, and you get the job at Alabama. Yeah, you go take that job. And I think it's worked out pretty well. Oates is 51. He got married to Alex Acheta. She's 31. Okay, no problem, right? Alex Acheta was the director of basketball operations for Alabama. So the workplace blossoming into romance, blossoming into marriage. It can happen still these days. Nobody is saying not. Now, you're wondering, she is no longer, has that title. I think that would be a conflict of interest. She took a job with the Dallas Mavericks. Great. And Oates was married for 26 years to his first wife, but they divorced in 2023. So, hey, congratulations, Coach.
Something like that.
Yeah.
I mean, he had a great stop at UB. I'm not sure how I feel about how he operates at Alabama.
But I would say, like, the pictures that got out online, look at how Josh Allen handled his wedding. It was in the department. That's none of your damn business. That's it. There were drones. Everybody was trying to get something, and I admire the way that Josh Allen handled that. Like, okay, I'm here for you. I'm the quarterback of your team. I want to do everything for Buffalo. My private life is my private life. I can kind of respect that. Some people live it inversely, but if you're an NFL quarterback at the highest level and you're married to, we don't no exaggeration, one of the top actresses in Hollywood today, yeah, I would think privacy would be something you would very, very much value. Kyle Shanahan update. We'll talk some baseball trade deadline stuff here too, and of course reset here what we saw, what we heard out at training camp for the Buffalo Bills this morning. The Bills wrapping up. Next time they're on the field, 8:30 on Saturday. If you missed Sal Capaccio, download the Odyssey app. He was on about 1:30-ish today here on the show. Additionally, the Dandalorian always has everything up for you in bite-sized form, podcast style, just wherever you get your fine audio. Just type in Sports Bar Rochester. Poof, there we are. My name is Gene Battaglia. This is WGR Rochester.
Sports Update.
Day number 2 in the books for the Buffalo Bills, as the team will be back on the field coming up Saturday at 8:30 a.m. New defensive coordinator is Jim Leonard. He's talking about the progress for rookie linebacker Caleb Elam's-Orr.
See, he's taken advantage of a huge opportunity, right, with backers ahead of him not being on the field, and he's calm, like he's collected. He wants that role. He wants to be a lead communicator for a defense. That's what he's done in the past, and he doesn't blink. He's definitely taken advantage of the opportunity and more reps.
Terrell Bernard once again today working out on the side, not doing the team drills. Red Wings have a doubleheader. Sun is out here downtown. They'll get this in 5 o'clock. Syracuse is the opponent. Yankees and White Sox just underway at Wrigley. Rays and Rangers tied at 2 there in the 8th. Gene Battaglin, the sports leader. WGR Rochester.
Raising the bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
We welcome your feedback on social and 2 of our regulars weighing in on the Baker Mayfield conversation. At WGR Rochester is our handle. Peter writing in, who's better, Brock Purdy or Baker Mayfield? Peter... You could say Purdy's a system quarterback. He's proven the doubters wrong. He's been to a Super Bowl. I'm going Purdy on that.
I'm going Baker, and it's a fun exercise that I would love to do. I just don't think here is the place to do it, because we can rattle off half the NFL, and like Baker's going to land somewhere between 8 and 14. And it's personal opinion from there.
Yeah, right.
That's, you can name 5 guys. Like, what's the line?
Yeah, right. That's what, where to put a pitcher of beer, and we're going to debate this. Brian writing
PJ can moderate.
Yes, exactly. Gene, I'm clutching my pearls. At least call him a Richard. I said the D word on the air when I called.
Yes, so you did a swear.
Which isn't one of the banned words here, but it is a crass word, I admit. So, I'm not apologizing.
Good.
I'm not. This is a sports bar. We don't fit the mold here of other WGR programs, for crying out loud. If we're going to call ourselves a sports bar, I should be able to use a 4-letter word every so often that I'm allowed to say on the air. Welcome back in. My name is Gene. You're like, what is this show? Gene Battaglia with you. Tim Schneider is our producer. Dan DeLorean also behind the scenes. We have time for your calls this segment at 585-866-4326. We're talking about the competition with Sal Capaccio, and kind of reset. He doesn't think corner 2 is a competition. For that, Maxwell Harrison is your leader. Igbinosin will bring him along. This is C.J. Gardner-Johnson's job at free safety alongside Cole Bishop. Great, no problem. Linebacker, different. Left guard, different. But there is one position. They didn't bring in anybody else. That's a kicker. Like Tyler Bass didn't kick at all in the regular season last year. Tyler Bass, with hip soreness, and then he tried to give it a go in the Tampa Bay preseason game. That didn't work, and that was the last we heard from Tyler Bass. So here was Tyler Bass. This is courtesy of John Scott. This audio today, talking kind of with reporters. Where are we at with Tyler Bass? He's got a new number here, too. Tyler Bass.
Just feeling good. We're excited to get back. And the process has been really just kind of recovering, strengthening what kind of we had worked on, and just kind of taking it one day at a time.
I mean, the clue is that you're the only kicker on the roster, but can we assume that you're ready to rock and roll, everything's good, you're going to be kicking preseason?
Yeah, we're ready to go. We've worked really hard, and like I said, we're excited to be here, and we can't wait.
What was last season like for you, going through that?
Yeah, it was tough. A situation I've never been in, being injured, but again, really grateful for how they kind of handled it, and I'm grateful for, honestly, Prater coming in, and he did a great job, and I learned a lot from just being around him, and it was tough, but again, it kind of just you just want to get back out there, and we're just, again, grateful to be here.
What happened in that preseason finale that you came back, you kicked?
Yeah, I mean, I think we were just still battling through it. I was still kind of hurting in that game, and it just never was going to get better, and we just decided, it's time to just get it fixed and go from there.
When you finally did, what was it like for you to say, okay, you know what, I have to do this?
Yeah.
And then go through that. Was it more of a relief for you to say, okay, now I'm on the right track?
Yeah, I mean, it was I wouldn't say it was a relief, but it was just, I finally had an answer to the problem, and it was going to be hard. I knew it was going to be hard, the recovery. It was hard to get out of bed for a couple weeks, but once I got through that, show myself and my body that I can kind of do anything, and yeah.
When did you start to feel like you're getting in the swing of kicking again?
It probably took a few months when I started kicking, but, we started with baby steps, like 20-yarders, 10-yarders, kind of worked from there. And then it wasn't really until OTAs, midway through OTAs, where I started really feeling kind of like myself again.
We've been asked, was there any trade involved with the number with DJ Moore?
Was there any trade involved?
Trade involved? Was there you just gave it to him?
That's between me and him.
Okay.
Yeah.
Why'd you choose 16?
College number. Okay. I'm excited. A lot of good memories with it, and yeah.
All right, so that's Tyler Bass, courtesy of John Scott. Tyler Bass, by the way, number 2 going over to DJ Moore. And we're never going to know the terms. Last time he kicked a full season, that was 2024. Is that crazy to think? You look at his stats and the field goal percentage, overall, there's not this massive dip, but that's a major thing he's coming back from. Hip surgery. And it is something I would question Brandon Beane. Why did you feel the need to offer money to a place kicker? That would be one thing that place kickers, you can go pick them off an apple tree. And that's the reason why there isn't any competition in this camp. You only get 90 guys. It's not like we can invite in 190. And because of that, if Tyler Bass doesn't show it here, if we're watching the preseason and this doesn't look right, and maybe we do want to see him kick, from long range, 50, 60 yards, just see if he still has in that regard. Well, then you just snap your fingers, and then whether it's Matt Prater or somebody else, and there will be guys that are just kind of floating around. This is how the position, by and large, is treated. Yes, there's also an upper echelon of kickers. I understand that. The guy down in Dallas, Aubrey, okay, he's fantastic. Adam Vinatieri, Hall of Famer. You have that level, but Tyler Bass wasn't at that level. So, again, why did you feel the need to pay him? And if you're wondering, all right, is this last year you couldn't do anything with it because the contract just put him on IR, and that was that. This year, if you cut Tyler Bass, that would save just under $500,000. Whatever. You'd still be carrying a dead cap of 254. So considering you still have to go sign another kicker at this point, it would actually be a loss. So you're hoping that Tyler Bass is the guy. Ultimately, you're hoping that the actual offense for the Buffalo Bills puts the ball in the end zone. You're not having to worry it come down to a kick. But what's our lasting image of Tyler Bass, right? 44 yards against the Chiefs. No good.
Mm-hmm.
Wide to the right. 585-866-4326 is our phone number. I don't know, on your feed, for whatever reason, my feed gives me a bunch of silly-ass Mitch McConnell memes. Mitch McConnell wrestling an alligator. Mitch McConnell feels fine. He's skydiving. Whatever it is, I'm getting a lot of this. Well, someone spliced the head of 49ers head coach Kyle Shanahan. You know the picture of Mitch and his wife, and he's sitting up straight on a bed, and everybody's like, that's a fake picture. I digress. Somebody kind of spliced in Kyle Shanahan into this. This is what I can't figure out. When WGN Chicago was doing the story on Kyle Shanahan, this is a sportscast. Yes, 6 o'clock, 11 o'clock, whatever, 10 o'clock. I don't know what time of day this was actually on. That doesn't matter. A real sportscast in a major market, Chicago, actually when talking about Kyle Shanahan, before going to the B-roll, They show a picture, the Mitch McConnell and his wife picture, except it's not Mitch McConnell, it's Kyle Shanahan. What's funnier, that or the fact that actually went off the air? And Tim, this is the part I can't figure out. Is that WGN, some producer, just playing a joke on the audience and trying to get you to laugh about that? Like, hey, that's an NFC opponent. Let's kind of point and laugh at them. Or are they just so oblivious that there's some producer like, oh, here's a picture of Kyle Shanahan recovering, and they just unknowingly put that up? I don't know if it's a spoof or not.
It's capital J journalism, but it's somebody that is probably just grateful, fresh out of college, grateful to have a job, doesn't pay attention to sports, Googled the name, saw the meme, ran with it not knowing it was a meme.
No, you can't do that. Like, even if you didn't know, like, how could you not know like, that's somebody, are you in tune with the world or not? Mitch McConnell meme.
If you're producing a newscast and not in tune with the world,
you got to know. So it's almost like I think they did this purposely to go viral.
I respect the troll if it's a troll.
It is a troll. But this is new ground we're breaking. This is WGN Chicago. Like, could you imagine, like, Carolina or Thad Brown or anybody doing, like, probably not.
I'd be outside of our building with a cup in my hand if I pulled a stunt like that at a news station.
Right. Right. I said the D word earlier in the show, and now I'm thinking, oh, my gosh, am I going to get in trouble for that? Probably not. No, I think that it's a troll job. By the way, probably Carolina and Buffalo Plus, they could do something like that, but on WGR, I didn't think so. Phillies, they're not playing well. Phillies blew a 6-0 lead against the Marlins. It was one of those games we were kind of keeping tabs on yesterday, like, wait a second, that game's tied? Wait a second, they're behind 8-6? That's a bad loss. Now, the Marlins were coming off a really big losing streak. And, well, you have Bryce Harper being vocal. And you know what? I kind of like Bryce Harper, even though he's a Philly. I kind of like, right? If you're a Philly fan, don't you want your stars to say, hey, yeah, management, let's spend a little money and up the payroll and go for this thing. We need some things here. Yeah, you could say that. I like Bryce Harper, too, because he stood up to Rob Manfred. And wouldn't you love to see the video of that, which never came out, where, Bryce Harper, get the bleep out of our clubhouse. But the point here being about the trade deadline and the Phillies. And what direction, could they go? There's a report that they're talking to the Blue Jays. The Jays, I read that one wrong. I thought they were going to snap their fingers and they'll be pulling themselves out of it. No, they should be sellers. And it's crazy to think, like, there are only a handful of guys that they shouldn't sell. And I'm sure they're getting a lot of calls on Ernie Clement. I think not the city of Toronto. I think the entire nation would riot. Okay,
yeah,
so
I think maybe
Ernie's staying in Toronto.
National treasure, international treasure.
But like, hey, what starting pitcher would you like? Oh, would you like George Springer? Like George Springer in Philadelphia, that would be interesting. That would offer a different element. Hoffman, the reliever. If I'm Philadelphia too, aren't we kind of expecting Mike Trout to end his career, in Philly? I mean, for crying out loud, he grew outside in New Jersey, which is basically the suburb of Philadelphia. He's got business interests. He's got a golf course there. Like, it makes all the sense in the world. And if you're Mike Trout, the big criticism is, okay, you're with the Angels, and you enjoy Southern California, and you got comfortable. Well, I'm sorry. Like, this is your opportunity to now go and do something. And Mike Trout, if you haven't paid attention, he was in the All-Star game. He just, last week, had a 4-hit game. He can offer a contender like the Phillies something. Notice I haven't even brought up the name, Skubal. Where does Tarek Skubal go? Jeff Passan today saying he's getting dealt. Great. If you're a Tiger fan, you're kind of bummed out about that, but you got to ask yourself the question. I mean, are we going to pay the guy? Well, there's also another wrinkle to this, too, is that's the unknown. Like, what is really going to happen next year? If you're a team in contention right now, give your fans something just to enjoy this season. And Philadelphia is that team right now that, okay, they start off really crappy. They were worse than the Mets. Not kidding you. Beginning of May, worse than the Mets. They did what the Mets should have done. Hey, this isn't working.
Clean
Out.
house.
Mattingly, in. Boom. And now Mattingly is still the manager, and now a little bit of a skid, which, again, make the right move here, and you should just kind of be fine. When you look at the National League, now all of a sudden the Phillies are 6.5 behind the Braves. They're only 2 ahead of the Marlins. The Marlins just went on that crazy losing streak. This is what kind of makes it fun. And it was only last week I was saying, hey, Philadelphia, a real contender to the Dodgers if they get Skubal. Well, right now they're hanging on to the last wild card. The Padres a game and a half behind. So we will talk some baseball coming up on the show tomorrow. Jim Riley from Ballcap Sports. He's got Rochester roots, native here. He's doing a big YouTube. You're familiar with our show. We go to Riley when it comes to baseball talk. He's a Jays fan, and trade deadline coming up on Monday. And since the Bills are not on the field tomorrow, it times out okay in that regard. That, come Monday, the Bills will be on the field. And even though it's the trade deadline, we're still going to be paying attention to the Bills. Let's take your calls. Last call is coming up. That is for you. Our phone number, 585-866-4326. My name is Gene Battaglia.
Bar on Rochester Sports Talk. You're in the Sports Bar with Gene Battaglia on the Sports Leader. 95.7 FM and AM 950 WGR, Rochester.
A friend of the show, Ty Dunn, on his Go Long podcast, had former running back Amon Green, who disclosed he has early onset Parkinson's. Yeah, these stories are not going to go away, folks. And when I say the game is safer, it comes at a tremendous price. And where we're excited for this sport and we admire these physical gifts, can there be some sort of balance? Can science figure this out in our lifetime? Because I hate reading these stories. I don't want to ignore these stories.
Yeah, we've made advances, but it's still something that you live with for the rest of your life. Yeah. And it's not a pleasant life once it hits a certain point.
No, like we had the death of the Chargers former lineman and the family saying CTE with that. So, yeah, we want to point that out. And, yeah, Amon Green. Yeah, that's the guy. Helped me win the fantasy championship one year with the Packers. Liked him. Wow. And how old is he? He's 49. My goodness. 585-866-4326. Last call is for you here in the Sports Bar, as today we had Sal Capaccio on the show going over, hey, we're day 2 into Bills camp. You can't overreact to what you're seeing on the field. Who's playing with the ones, who's playing with the twos. But I am curious as to what was really happening with Terrell Bernard. If Terrell Bernard is healthy and good to go, then obviously he's your middle linebacker. He was a team captain last year. But he's not out there, and that gives an opportunity for Caleb Elam's-Orr. The more we see of Caleb Elam's-Orr, is he actually, because of this, going to actually steal an opportunity? Would that actually be from Dorian Williams? Like, they need depth. Like, at minimum, Elam's-Orr as a rookie, I feel like here on July 30th, he's like the number 3 linebacker. Could he be the second linebacker? And are those 2 linebacker positions, and then it's not Mike and Will, middle and weak side, not with this new alignment, not with having 2 defensive ends now with their hand up. Those guys, your Chubbs, your Rousseaus, your Michael Hoyts, those guys are going to be considered linebackers. It's all going to be kind of a different complex matrix here for the Bills. Yeah, that's kind of a storyline. Keep an eye on if you can make it out there Saturday. All right, or what's going on with Terrell Bernard? Well, again, it's so early on. I don't want to overreact, but that's something certainly. And then just the Tre'Davious White conversation. Like, if he has a number in his head and the Bills are offering something a little less, all right, like at what point do the two sides kind of meet in the middle? If that's really what's happening here. Because you feel good about Christian Benford. You feel great about him. And, yeah, we're hopeful for Maxwell Harrison. You're hopeful for Davison Igbinosun. But are we confident? Do you even know the pride, like a 7th-round corner, he's going to be your 4th corner? That seems like if I had to say who's going to be corner 4 on this team, is that player actually on the roster right now? Are they in Pittsburgh? And if I had to say yes or no, I'd lean on the side of no. And maybe that's just me being hopeful that Trey White finds a spot back here, because Tre'Davious White, if he comes in, he wasn't all pro Trey, but man, he made plays down the stretch last year when the Bills needed him most. 585-866-4326 being our phone number. We do have this note here from soccer, and
Soccer notes. The World Cup's over.
Well, no. Like you're looking forward to the next World Cup. When it comes around, you file in the back of your mind, like, oh, my gosh, that was fun. Okay, we don't do this every 4 years. Next year, it's going to be in South America and over in Europe, kind of splitting between the two. But now the president, Gianni Infantino, is looking to sell to private investors. Like, this is a minority share in the team. Why? You're announcing this now. The stock is high, essentially. Sell high, right? Don't sell low. If you want to get out, the getting's good. And right now, the European UEFA is saying if this happens, we're going to boycott the next World Cup.
FIFA and the NCAA can't get away from one another.
Oh, my gosh. You're kidding me. Why can't we have good things? Why can't you kind of understand? And, wow, FIFA being corrupt? No way. You're kidding me.
Well,
like
I never.
The president of FIFA stands to cash in a lot of money here. Like, if we had a World Cup with the United States competing against teams from Africa. Now, mind you, like, there were a lot of teams from Africa who made it into the knockout round, but ultimately they didn't get very far.
A World Cup without half the world.
Yeah, like a World Cup without Europe is not a World Cup. They just hand it over to Argentina. Hey, like, oh my gosh, look who's back. Like, it's
The NIT.
Yeah, the NIT. Like, so I don't even like if FIFA was really, it would be a full stop here. Table this, right? If it's something you want to explore, but if you think FIFA is the only one on this, like every college program, conference, what would this look like with private investment? Yeah, it's nothing more than just getting a big old fat paycheck. OPM, Tim, you know what that stands for?
I do not.
Other people's money.
Oh, yeah.
Other
I do know
people's
that.
money.
I love spending that.
Yeah. It's
Speaking of that.
Well, speaking of that.
Are you going to spend money on me if I meet up with PJ Glasser?
You made up.
No. Am I going to spend your money?
Oh,
you buying?
I love how you put me on the spot. I'm the team captain here, of course. Like, you accuse me of being many things on the show. One thing you can't accuse me of is being cheap.
No, you're not.
I am not cheap. I'm good to my family and friends.
You always buy the first round.
I'm always generous in that regard. See, look at that. Tim's like, oh, I'll come meet PJ tonight if the beer is free. Today,
skipping softball now.
Yeah, 1-3. Sun is out. The Wings. By the way, Seaver King got activated. Seaver King back for the Red Wings. That's good news. The Red Wings playing Syracuse coming up at 5 o'clock. The doubleheader. Thanks to Sal Capaccio who joined us today. If you missed any of the show, we're on 1 to 3 locally. Listen to it inside the Odyssey app. Show up in the Bulldog coming your way next. I'm Gene Battaglia here on the Sports Learner, the award-winning sports bar on WGR Rochester.